How's it going, guys? Andrew here with Justified EDC, and I have a couple different reviews here for you of gear that I've got in over the last couple weeks or months that I've been testing and carrying, and I'm finally ready to do a review on, but they, just by kind of the nature of what they are, I don't think they need a dedicated video because it would be really short. I know some channels do really short reviews, and just, pump out a bunch of videos. I kind of like doing longer form, and you guys seem to like, by the view count, when I do, a couple reviews all packed into one video. I've done it with like several knives before, but we're going to try it out here with some gear that I have to review. I have 4 different things here that we're going to go over one at a time, and I've really been happy with all of these, quite honestly. They've all got their little quirks and stuff, but overall, been very happy with all 4 of these pieces of gear here. We got lights, we got pens, we got knives, we got wallets, so we're going to go over everything here, but before we do that, we, as always, have to thank the sponsor of the channel, which is Auxiliary Manufacturing. Mike over at Auxiliary Manufacturing is making awesome custom USA-made fixed blades like this pocket bowie here, or this Sumi. And actually, I forgot I had this the other day. I found this little guy here. I don't know if he ever actually named this little guy, but he had sent me one of these little things along a while ago, and I keep forgetting to show it off. But my point in all of that is that he's got a bunch of different designs, so if you don't like the ones here, I'm sure you'll find something on his website or on his Instagram that you will like. He's got some designs out there for everyone, so if you're looking for a custom USA-made fixed blade made in a one-man shop here in the USA, definitely go check him out. I do have a discount code with him. Code Justified10 will get you 10% off your order on his website, so links will be down below in the description to his pages and as well as that discount code. So thank you as always to Mike for sponsoring the channel. All right, let's get into the reviews here. We're going to start out with this guy right here. This is the Rovyvon Angel Eyes E1. Rovyvon reached out to me, full disclosure. They reached out to my email and asked if I would be willing to check out one of their lights. I know a lot in the past, you get a little disclaimer here, in the past when I've done flashlight reviews, as you guys know, I've been carrying the Surefire Stiletto Pro now for years. That's kind of really been the light I stack up all other EDC lights to. And when I've talked about other lights, specifically like Olight, and I've talked about quality issues and how they haven't held up for me, I really get slammed for, oh, you just don't like them because they're made in China. Well, that's not really it. Olight specifically, I've just had a lot of issues with. Pretty much every light I've ever bought or traded or received from them, it's broken or stopped working at some point, so I really just don't trust that brand specifically. With knives and stuff, I try to get, USA made stuff or European made stuff just because there are the options out there for that. But with flashlights, you're really limited in terms of what you can source in the US, especially for a decent price. So I have no problem with flashlights made in China. There are a lot of great Chinese brands of flashlights, and Rovyvon is one of them. This is the first light that I have received from Rovyvon for free, but I have purchased several Rovyvon lights in the past, and they've always been great. They've always performed as advertised, and I've never had any issues with them breaking or anything. I've given them as gifts to family members. So before anyone jumps in the comments and, oh, you're just shitting on things because it's made in China. No, I'm not. There are specific brands that actually suck. But Rovyvon is not one of those brands. I very much enjoy Rovyvon's lights. So all that to be said, disclosure, this was sent to me by the manufacturer for review. They're not paying me. They're not telling me to say anything. They just offered to send the light over, and I accepted. So it comes in this nice little plastic box here. It's nice that, I kind of do like when they send when companies send stuff in packaging that you can reuse and you're not just, throwing stuff out. But in here, obviously, you have the light itself, you have the instructions, there's a warranty card in there that you could fill out to register it, and then it also comes with 2 different split rings. One I have on here, and then also, if I can open this up, we have a removable pocket clip. So this is definitely more of a keychain size light. but you can snap this pocket clip on here and carry it in the pocket if that's something you wanted to do. So I'm going to leave it on here just so you can kind of get the idea for it. But just so you know, I've been carrying it on my keychain with the split ring. So that is the packaging. I'm going to go ahead and open up the manual here just because I want to make sure I get the specs right. In the past when I've talked about flashlights, I've either misspoken and then, you know, had to correct myself later in the comments. So this is the instructions that you get. Obviously, I'm not going to go over everything, you know, line by line, but basic operations, you have two different buttons on here. So the first button is, they call your daily modes. So one click here, I'm not sure how well it's going to show up on camera, but there you can see that is a moonlight mode of just 5 lumens. So clicking once will turn that on and off. If you double click, it turns on memory mode. So then you can one tap to cycle through low, medium, and high. And those respective lumen counts are over here. So you can see your lumen counts here going up from 10 to 100 to 700, and then 520 and 100. The other button down here is a momentary. So if you press and hold, it goes straight to high. You let go, it turns off. That takes you right to that 700 or 100 lumens, depending on, you know, what battery output you're using. So I'll go over that in a second. But the other thing you can do with that button is if you double press, it goes into a strobe mode. I've never found strobe to be all that useful, but I know some people like strobe, and it's not, you know, in the way that, you know, you have to cycle through a strobe function. So I don't mind that it's there. I really do like that there's a dedicated button just to go right to momentary, that just goes to high, because that's what I really dislike a lot about a lot of these programmable lights, is that you're forced to cycle through different modes to get to high, which is, to be honest, that's the output I use most on most of my flashlights. It's either, you know, the moonlight or the lowest mode like this, the, you know, your tiny 5 lumens, or your high mode. I never really find a use for those kind of in-between settings. So it's nice that you have a dedicated option to go right to moonlight and a dedicated option to go right to high, but if you want to cycle through, you can do that as well. Again, on the memory mode, whatever you leave that on, if you press and hold to turn it off, it will remember that. So if you press and hold again, or sorry, if you double click again, it will come right back to that mode. So say I cycle through to medium and then press and hold to turn that off, double click, it comes back on medium, and then you can cycle through again. So I usually leave it on high, because again, I usually only really use the high and the low modes. So press and hold to turn that off. So those are the basic functions of the two buttons here. You're going to notice here you have two different lights on here, and these are actually to indicate what your battery output is. So this over here on the side has a USB-C charging port. As you open that up there, nice and sealed off. They do also include an extra rubber gasket, which is nice because that's, you know, usually the thing that you guys, you know, we lose these very quickly, these little rubber gaskets. So they do include another one in there if you lose that, but it is USB-C rechargeable, so it has an internal battery. But also, if you notice this little latch over here, if you pull up on that and then you rotate the head of the light, you have a AAA battery. So this is actually a dual fuel light that you can switch the outputs between a AAA battery, so an external battery, or it says LiPo on here. I don't know what that stands for. I'm not an electronics nerd, but that is the internal battery. So if you look over here on the instructions to switch, if you just single tap this top button here, it goes to the moonlight mode, but if you triple click it, so 1, 2, 3, it's going to blink over there. And so now it is on the internal rechargeable battery. Now, I've run down the internal rechargeable battery so that I don't have any charge left on it, so I can show you what happens here. So when you switch over to the batteries, if you then go try to use any of these modes, it's going to blink 3 times. That means that either there's an issue with it, it says, you know, abnormal circuit, or the, you know, for the AAA, the battery's not installed, but it also, that's what indicates low battery. So you can see right now, if I try to, you know, go right to my instant It's going to blink 3 times. That means that internal battery is low and you're not going to be able to use it anymore. But not to worry, we have a AAA installed, so we can press 1, 2, 3, and you can see it blinked over to AAA, and now we're able to use the light. So I really like that about it. It's really nice having the dual battery option. It says over here, you know, again, we're going to go, there's 2 different tables here. There's one for a warm light and one for a cool light. I'm assuming there's 2 different modes of this light, or 2 different versions of this light that you can get. Mine, you know, just looking at the light, that looks to be a cool white. I'm going to flash you guys in the camera there. That looks to be a cool light, cool white to me. So I'm going to assume these are the outputs we're getting, and, you know, it seems pretty, right? So the output for the cool white on your internal battery is your moonlight low is half a lumen, your low is 10, your medium is 100, and your high is 700. On the AAA, again, same thing. On the moonlight is half a lumen, your low is 5 lumens, your medium is 20 lumens, and your high is 100 lumens. So looking at that high mode there, I would say, yeah, that's probably about 100 lumens, and that's what we're running right now on the AAA battery. I realize one of the disadvantages of not having this charged to show you that, you know, how to switch those over is that I can't show you the full output, but I can confirm that with the internal battery, it is a lot brighter. But it is nice to have the option of all you have to do is, you know, throw that battery in there. You can use it with the internal battery, so you get that higher performance. But if you run out, it's very nice to be able to just switch over to that external battery and, you know, still be able to use your light in a pinch, you know, especially if this is going to be your actual EDC light. You know, take the split ring off and put the pocket clip on there. This would be a very nice, you know, form factor for a small little EDC light. So having the option to just throw a AAA in there very quickly is a nice option. And then for the run times, for the internal battery, moonlight is 62 hours, low 14 hours, medium 2 hours, and then high is 3 minutes, and then it says +1 hour. If you go down there, it says that, you know, after 3 minutes, your high mode drops down to 150. I'm not sure what it drops down to if you're using the AAA battery. I'm assuming it just stays at that constant 100 until it shuts off. But when you're using that high mode with the internal battery of 700 lumens, it'll run at 700 for 3 minutes, and then it'll drop down to 150 for an additional hour. So you're only going to get that really, really high performance for about 3 minutes. But again, for a light like this, you're probably not using it on high a whole lot. Again, for someone like me that this is my EDC light, this is what I'm using most of the time, and this is just a keychain light. 3 minutes of that really high output is just fine. I'm mostly probably going to be using the lower modes again. So that is pretty much it for, you know, the operations and the specs and everything like that. So I apologize if that was a bit tedious, but I just wanted to make sure I got all the correct information out there. So now on to my actual thoughts about the light, the durability, how my experience was. This thing held up great. As you can see, this is a polymer body, and then the light head itself is aluminum. You can also get the Angel Eyes E4, which is a titanium body, which is pretty cool. But I had no durability problems with the polymer at all. I did plenty of drop tests on this. I dropped it on hardwood floors, on concrete, on my stone driveway, and it held up great. A couple little nicks and dings on the polymer, a couple little scratches on the aluminum. The lens held up just fine. It did not crack or break. And the light stayed on. You know, I did the drop test with the light on. So, you know, I would, you know, turn the light on, do the drop test. The light never turned off. It never flickered or anything like that. So in terms of durability, very happy with this. No issues at all. In terms of the runtime, it seemed to be just about as advertised. I used it right out of the box without charging it, and it lasted for, you know, a couple hours. I charged it, used it all the way up again. Again, the runtimes seem to be about what they're advertising, and now I've been using the internal battery as well. So one of the nice things about it being optional to use the AAA is also for saving weight. So if you are going to be carrying this in your pocket, I don't think the weight will be a big deal at all, no matter whether you have the battery in here or not. But I'm just going to give you some weights here. So if you're carrying this on your keychain and you want it to be ultra light as possible and not weighing you down on your keychain, you can take the pocket clip off. There we go. And you can take the AAA battery out, and then you're sitting at a weight of 1 ounce on the dot. So very, very light for a lot of output. Now, if you wanted to carry this in the pocket, or, you know, just wanted to drop this battery in here to have as a spare, so without the pocket clip but with the AAA in it, it is now at 1.4 ounces, and my guess is it's going to be about at 1.5 when we throw this clip on. But again, you know, you wanted to carry it in the pocket, you got your full load out with batteries and everything, you're now sitting at 1.5, probably down to 1.4 if you took the split ring off. So not a huge difference, but you can tell the difference with the battery on and off. So, you know, if weight was a big thing for you, you don't want to feel your keychain weighed down, you don't have to use that extra weight of the internal battery. You can just pop that out. But if you want it as a backup, it's very easy to, you know, switch that off. The only thing that ever happened during the drop tests and just during my normal use of, you know, it banging around on my keychain with all my other stuff is a couple times when I dropped it, this latch popped up. But the battery door did not swing open. I didn't lose the battery or anything. It was very easy to just pop that back down. The latch didn't break or anything. But that's about it. That's the only real issue I had. So I really enjoy this light. I definitely think I'm going to start recommending this to people, you know, that are looking for a small but decently bright output flashlight. And again, I really like the flat form factor. I really hate round body lights. Especially for pocket carry, they look dumb with that weird bulge sticking out in your pocket, and I hate the feeling of that. So having a flat light, especially this small and this lightweight, is really cool. So I would definitely recommend this. Again, I'll leave links down in the description for it, and thank you to Rovyvon for sending this along. I hope you guys enjoy the review. I definitely like to keep working with you because I really do like your products. So that is one product out of the way. Let's get into this. This is the Soulbuilt Marksmith. I did an overview of this. I did kind of like an unboxing and overview of all the features. So if you really want an in-depth description of, you know, how everything in this works, I'm going to direct you to that video. I will leave a link to that video in the description with the purchase links for this as well. But again, just a disclaimer, this was sent to me by Soulbuilt. They reached out to me on Instagram and asked if they could send me one of these to review. Again, just full disclosure, the only stipulations they gave me is that, you know, I had to post about it a certain amount of times, but they are not telling me what to say. They did not pay me, anything like that. So I will do my best not to let that affect the review at all. But this is a titanium marker body, a bolt action marker body that takes modified Sharpie inserts. So if you open up the box, this is what those inserts look like. They have a really interesting mechanism that, you know, keeps the head from drying out. You know, it keeps it enclosed and all that. So that's what your inserts look like. It comes with one insert in the body. It comes with an extra one. And then you can buy all different kinds of refills here in all different colors. So you can get, you know, yellow highlighter, you can get all of the different other Sharpie colors. And these are fairly cheap. I can't remember the exact price off the top of my head, but you can check out their websites. You know how long Sharpies last, and I feel like the inserts are fairly reasonably priced. They also have recently they added this ballpoint pen insert that, using some standoffs here that they've turned down that kind of add up the extra space, you can put a Schmidt P900 refill in there and actually use it as a ballpoint pen. So again, in the overview video, I went over, you know, how to switch all of that kind of stuff out. So if you're interested in any of that, definitely go check out that video. But just so you know, it comes with the standard black Sharpie refills. You can buy the ballpoint pen insert separately, and you can buy the other highlighter and marker colors separate as well. So just generally how this works, if you guys aren't familiar with bolt action pens, I'll just pull another one out here. This is my EDC pen. This is a tactile turn bolt action mini in titanium. So if you're not familiar how that works, again, it's just a bolt that slides and catches, and all that does is push the pen in and out. One, they're very satisfying to use, but also, as opposed to like a click top or something like that, you can't really bump this and get it to put ink inside your pocket. So I very much like bolt action. It's very nice, very easy to use. A lot of people say you can't switch hands and do them with it. Yes, you absolutely can. So that's the idea of a bolt action pen. Here, just for a size comparison, if you're familiar with the bolt action mini from Tactile, that is it up against the Marksmith. And then let me just put this away so I don't forget to do it later. There we go. And then just getting to this, so same idea here. Your clip is the bolt as well. So the clip is integrated into the bolt, so you just press and move that to the side. And that is how it retracts the marker. On the inside here, you have an engraved of their logo. And when you have it open, you can see Marksmith, which is the name of the pen. And then they offer custom laser engraving. They offered to do one for that, so I put my Memento Mori on there. You can get any kind of custom words or anything like that engraved on these, which is pretty cool. Again, as I mentioned, titanium body, titanium clip. You can get these in raw titanium. There's a couple different finishes, and you can get them in these DLC. Wow, I just had a major stutter there. Did you guys hear that? That was crazy. But you can get these in raw titanium in a couple different finishes, and you can also get these in the DLC. I went with the matte finished black DLC just because I like how it wears. As you can see here, I've scratched it up and dinged it up a whole bunch. One, just because it rides next to my other titanium pen, so it rubs against that going in and out of my pouch. But also I did drop tests with this just to see how it would hold up, you know, would the springs or anything get rattled around, would the body crack. And I'm happy to say, other than some nicks and dings on the DLC, this held up perfectly. It is still in perfect working order. It did not break at all, so very happy with that. Real quick, I'll just show you. You just unscrew this here, and then your insert is inside. It's very easy to change out. Just switch that in, and then screw that back closed. You can't really see the seam at all. It's very well done. The only real nitpick I have with this is this. Because they have space in there so that you can't, you can see there's travel on this before the marker tip actually comes out. So there's a good amount of travel. There you go, before the marker actually comes out. That's because of that internal mechanism that keeps the tip enclosed so it doesn't dry out. There has to be some extra space up here, so in turn there is some bolt rattle. Once you have it in, like, clip to your pocket or clip to a pouch or anything like that, it doesn't rattle anymore. So it's not going to be rattling around in your pocket. But if something like that, those auditory things are going to bother you, that's just something to keep in mind. Now, if you're going to use the pen refill, I'm not going to take it out and switch everything out right now. But that spacer in there for the pen actually takes up that extra space. So if you're using the ballpoint pen insert in here, it doesn't rattle around. So if you want to use this as a pen and you have those auditory issues, it stimulates your autism or something a little bit, you can use the ballpoint pen insert and it won't rattle around. Now, the kind of elephant in the room for this is these are quite expensive. These are, starting at $99 and going anywhere up to, I think, like $120. I think the DLC ones like this are like $120, and then there's extra for some laser engraving. So again, it compared to just buying a Sharpie or even something like these metal tubes that you can get and actually put, a Sharpie inside of just to make it a little bit more durable. It's very pricey. It's definitely a premium product. You know, you're paying for the niceties of having titanium and having the bolt action and having the titanium clip and having it look nice. So yes, it is durable. Yes, it is now one-hand use instead of having, you know, take a cap off and everything like that. So for the average person that's on a budget, is it worth it? Like, are the, you know, advantages of this being a little bit more durable and being one-handed, is that really worth it for $100 to $120? I don't know. You're gonna have to decide that for yourself. It is definitely a little pricey, but if you like, you know, premium feeling gear, this is definitely going to be something I think you should check out. It's very, very cool. You can, you know, use a ton of different inserts in it. And if you have the money and you're looking for something nice to, you know, add to your collection, you know, you just really like titanium or anything like that, I do think these are worth it for someone like that. So for the average Joe that just needs to write with a Sharpie, probably not for you. But if you're looking for something premium, you're looking for something durable, you want the one-handed, you want to be able to use all the inserts, and you have the money, definitely check these out. They're very, very cool. So again, I will leave links down in the description to all this stuff so you can check it out for yourself. So let me just clear off my space here, and we're gonna go right into this. I also have a kind of overview video on this, talking about this knife and kind of going over how to swap the scales and everything like that. So again, I will leave links not only to purchase this, but also to that video if you want to watch that, because I'm not going to go over all of that again. This is the Real Steel Barlow. It is kind of a modern traditional, so it is a slip joint. It has a 3/4 stop, as opposed to the American half stop. It's more of a European style 3/4 stop. Walk and talk is very, very nice. You have an N690 blade. You can get it in a clip point or in more of that like Barlow-esque spear point with the swedge. G10 handle scales. These are quick swappable, so you only have to take off these two screws, remove the pocket clip, and then these scales slide off. I'll show you here in the box. I bought this one coming with black G10, and I bought the gray G10 separately to swap on just to test out that. So there you can see that's the other blade shape that it comes with. I guess that's more of a, I don't know if that's more of a drop point. It's not a spear point because the tip's not center line, but I digress. Sheep's foot, drops point, whatever you want to call it. That's the other blade shape you can get. So there's all the specs. If you want to look at those, you can pause and read those. But the basic ones, N690, G10, wire pocket clip, quick swappable scales, slip joint, 3/4 stop, all that good stuff. So the reason I had gotten this originally is because I wanted to test out carrying just a slip joint knife for a whole month as my primary EDC, you know, utility knife. You know, I was still carrying a fixed blade, you know, like something like this as like a defensive blade. But for my utility, I wanted to try carrying just a slip joint just to see how I liked it, because I was considering, you know, bouncing back and forth with getting a custom slip joint made. But if I was going to put that kind of money into a knife, I wanted to make sure it was something I'd actually carry. So one, I wanted to check out the 3/4 stop to see if I liked it better than the half stop, and I wanted to try a slip joint with a pocket clip, because one of the things that I really hate about carrying slip joints, as much as I love traditional knives, is I hate digging around in my pocket and then they're either laying down there in my pocket or they're in a slip where I have to pull the slip out, I have to take it out of the slip, then I have to use two hands to open it. So I wanted a pocket clip so I could just pull it out, open it up, use it, close it up, put it back in my pocket. It's definitely a better experience with a pocket clip. This one specifically does move around a lot. It's kind of flimsy, not in terms of durability. It held up very well and it has a decent amount of tension, but it moves around a little bit and that kind of bothered me. But in terms of just like, you know, the utility of having a pocket clip on a slip joint, I definitely did enjoy that. 3/4 stop, I'm actually pretty sold on. You know, I make fun of Europeans a lot, and I'm, you know, like to root for the home team of the USA over here, but I think the 3/4 stop is actually, it makes a lot more sense than the half stop. Half stops, if I have my fingers like this on the knife, you know, kind of where I'm using it, and that knife blade comes down, with a half stop, that would have bit me. But with the 3/4 stop, I can have my hand, you know, where I'm using it, and it's going to stop before it hits my fingers. So you still get the satisfying walk and talk of a half stop, but the 3/4 actually makes way more sense in terms of safety because it stops above where you're mostly going to be holding the knife. So it is much safer. Just some QC things on this. Blade play, no blade play. Walk and talk is amazing. Centering is perfect. The scales were easy to swap around. That was no problem. The fit and finish of the swappable scales, there's no gapping or anything like that. Again, pocket clip fits fine. The only thing, and again, it's how this is designed, so I understand. That's really my only issue, is that pocket clip moves. The only other thing here is you have a high flat grind. I ended up using this until it was dull, and then I put my own edge on it. I found that with my own edge with a slightly higher edge angle, it's actually the edge has actually lasted a little bit longer than the factory. It came very sharp, and that wasn't the problem, but you know, just with a very steep edge angle on something with as little edge retention as N690, it's just better if you lay that edge angle back a little bit. So that's just something to be aware of if you pick one of these up. The other thing is, and I've had this happen with other N690, so it's not just real steel, it's starting to rust here, and there's a couple little spots down in here you can see. There's a spot right there. N690 I've found to be similar to D2 in terms of stain resistance, where it is technically a stainless steel, but with any kind of moisture exposure, it's going to rust a little bit. So not a huge deal. You know, I probably could have done a better job of oiling the blade or, you know, wiping it down when I was done with it. But especially with these, you know, milled pockets in here for the long pulls, which, by the way, work very well. It's very easy to pull this open and close. But with those milled pockets in there, it's very easy for moisture to collect inside there and then it to start rusting. So that's just something to be aware of. It's the nature of the beast with N690. I would love, you know, they make aftermarket titanium scales for this. I would love to see a premium version of this with titanium scales and micarta scales and all that kind of stuff, like higher end scales, but also put a higher end blade steel on here. Like, I know probably coming from a company like Real Steel, it'd probably be something like M390, which would be fine. Again, not the most durable steel, but much higher edge retention, which is what you want for something like this. So I'd love to see something like this with like M390 and a higher end scale. These are coming in at, I think these are like right around 50-60 bucks. I'll leave links down in the description to a couple different places you can get them. But this is definitely more of a budget knife. But it would be cool to see a premium offering. So all that to be said, will I be buying? I did carry this for a whole month as my primary EDC. Will I be, you know, buying a custom slip joint after this? The answer is I don't know. As much as I did enjoy carrying a slip joint with a pocket clip, after a full month of it, I got pretty sick of it. I'm someone who is used to rotating through gear for review, so just carrying one knife, you know, there was a lot of times where I was like, man, I could be testing something else, or I could be switching to something else that maybe I just want to carry more that day. So I'd really have to dedicate some time to carrying just a custom slip joint if I was going to put that kind of money into it. So right now I'm at the point where I think I would enjoy it, but I'm not sure I want to sink the money into it right now. So I think for right now, this is going to kind of hold me over if I want that kind of pocket clip, modern slip joint feel. This is still a great knife, even though it is a budget knife. So the answer to that experiment is probably I will have a custom slip joint made in the future, but probably not right now. So I'm going to put that away with my other. Oh, you know what? I should do some quick size comparisons for you guys, just so you can see what the size of this knife is. So here, this is my K-bar trapper with added half stops and been recovered in Stag by Box Creek Knife Company. So your standard full-size trapper. Next to that, I'm just going to do it like this because of the pocket clip. Here is a case Barlow. So Barlow style. Your case Barlow is going to be a little bit smaller. Here is a small trapper from Case. Definitely more along the lines of the small trapper. And then let's see, another one. Here is the mini copper lock, also from Case. Very similar in overall size to the mini copper lock. And then one more here, just for another modern, modern traditional. Here is the Spyderco Rody. So that should give you a good idea of sizes. So it's kind of right in the middle of a lot of these, but I think the best comparison is a Case mini copper lock. They're very similar in overall size. So that should give you a good idea. Again, I'll leave links down below to the Real Steel Barlow, and we are on to the last review. This is going to be a little bit longer of a video. That is okay, because you guys know me. I talk and I do long videos, and if you don't like it, you can go to another channel. This is the Redeem Creations Co. Front Pocket Bifold. I love this wallet. I'm just going to start right out from the beginning and say that I love this wallet. Again, just disclosure. Oh, I should have said, on the Real Steel, I purchased this with my own money. The company did not send it to me or anything. I just bought it right out. This here, I had seen on Redeem Creations Instagram, and I reached out to him, and he gave me a discount on one of these, so I did purchase it, but he gave me a discount because he knew I was going to review it. So full disclosure on that. I had originally found out about Redeem Creations Co. because he made the pocket sheath for my SE Azula, the SE Azula 2. And so I've been following him. I had never picked up one of his wallets, and you know, a lot of wallets on Instagram, a lot of makers, even makers that I really, really like. Sorry guys, but a lot of your wallets really, really look the same, and they function very, very similarly, and that's okay. I'm totally cool with that. I know, you know, everyone's just out there trying to make a buck, trying to, you know, grow a business. That's totally fine with me. You know, just kind of pick your favorite maker, support them, you know, buy wallets that are similar, support everyone. It's totally cool. But this stood out to me because it is a bifold, but it is very, very slim, unlike a lot of other bifolds. It doesn't take up a whole lot of extra space. So like here, as a comparison, is like a traditional bifold. This is made by Head On Tactical. It's got a spot out here for patches and all that good stuff. But other than that, it's your traditional bifold that opens up. It's got the 2 slots. But if you overlay it here, you can see it's the same length as a traditional bifold, but it's much, it's not quite as wide. It's the same height, but not as wide. And also, you know, using this thinner leather, it doesn't end up being as bulky in the pocket. So I have some other wallets here just to give you a general size comparison to. This is my Open Sea leather, or back when it was Das Offenamir. This is the Topsider Quick Draw. So as you can see, a little bit taller, but not as wide as the Topsider Quick Draw. Here's the Rustic Heirloom Hitchhiker. This is kind of what started me off into some of the much more minimalist small wallets. This was kind of the gold standard for me that I tested all my other wallets against until this one came along. This is the Arrowhead Goods Co. Outlaw wallet. And this is probably, these two are really, really neck and neck right now for my favorites. And what I've kind of come down to, you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll just kind of show you the comparison here. It's not as tall. The width is pretty much exactly the same. The front pocket bifold is just a little bit taller. It's a little bit thicker, but not by a whole lot. So I'll come back to this because I have thoughts about these two in contrast to each other. But your basic outline here is you have 2 slots inside. The way I was carrying it is I had 4 cards in here. So 4 cards in this slot, and then I use this side to store folded cash. And also, these are pretty cool. I'll do a video on these at some point. These are made by Exceed Designs. They're just very thin 3D printed cases that hold utility blades. So you can carry some extra utility blades around for you know, you carry a Milwaukee Fastback or something like that. So I have that in there with some cash. That folds up, and then the thing that I like about it over a lot of bifolds is it has a quick draw section out here on the back. So I kept my, you know, my primary card and my ID here in the back, which I like because I love bifolds. I like the capability of bifolds, but I like having an easy access slot on the back so I don't have to unfold it every time I want to use it. I can if I just want to, you know, pay for something real quick or show my ID to, you know, buy some beer or, you know, get pulled over, whatever. You can do that. So I absolutely love this wallet. I carried it for a couple weeks exclusively. It's taken a great patina. It's forming great to my cards. You can even see there from my debit card being there, it's kind of conforming to like the raised digits of the card. So good luck if you can try to read what those are. But it's taken a great patina. It's, you know, it stays closed on itself. You know, when you first get leather folded wallets, you know, they have a tendency to pop up, but through carrying it and everything, it stays folded even when it's sitting by itself. So I really, really like this wallet, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be my EDC for the foreseeable future. In contrast to this kind of was my favorite until this came along. I went to a wedding the other day, and I switched back to this just because, you know, I didn't put the blade bank in, and I didn't put any cash in. I just had my cards. This is so slim and so thin. Like, if I put, you know, the cards that I had in here real quick, you know, with all those cards in there, it's so thin. It's barely any bigger than just having the cards in your pocket. So what I'm gonna do is for situations where I'm wearing like dress pants or a suit or slacks or something where I need something really, really thin so it's not bulging out of my pocket, this is gonna be my wallet for those. And I absolutely love this wallet. But for my day-to-day, I just absolutely love the bifold. I like that it's a little bit thicker, you know, just the feel in the hand. I like the quick access slot, but I like the option to be able to carry cash inside, some extra cards, the blade bank, all that kind of stuff in that kind of size. So Redeem Creations, front pocket bifold, awesome wallet. Would highly recommend, as well as any of these, honestly. All of these are great wallets. I'm not going to leave links to all of these here, but any of these four that I talked about, these are awesome. But this is probably going to be my EDC for the foreseeable future. So that is pretty much it, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me. I'm just going to pull some stuff back out here for you to look at. I don't know where I ended up putting that Rovyvon light. Where did I end up putting that? I sat it somewhere. Oh, there she is. So if you're interested in any of this gear that I talked about here, I will leave links down in the description to everything I talked about. I will have timestamps to each of these individual reviews, so if you're not interested in one of these, I probably should have said this at the beginning, but whatever. If you're not interested in one of these, just use the timestamp, skip to where you want, skip around. It's all good with me if you don't watch the whole thing. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerned about anything, leave them down in the comment section. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.